it all came back. A kaleidoscope of colors, cars and time and people, all running along in a big string. Why would anybody want to go to Bonneville?
The Bonneville Salt Flats are a remnant of Lake Bonneville, which was a huge lake that covered most of northern Utah about 20,000 years ago. Over the last 15,000 years, that lake dried up, and the salts that were there in the lake that had accumulated over millions of years were left in this one little concentrated area.
It's foreign, almost alien of a landscape. The stark white stands out against the mountain background, the blue sky.
I just couldn't believe there was a place on Earth that was anything like that.
The only way people knew about this is after the Western Pacific Railroad cut across the salt flats in about 1906 or 7. Somebody got the brilliant idea that you could probably drive a car fast out here.
Ab Jenkins has made history on the salt beds here today with 77 new official speed and endurance records.
Ab really grabbed the bull by the horns and made everybody take notice of what was going on here.
There was no place else in this country that they could go where they could actually open the car up. The average car back then, if it could go 60 miles an hour, it was a bullet. When you think about the speeds that they were traveling, like Jenkins, it had to be like going to the moon now. Do you miss coming back out?
Well, of course I do.
And when you turn the key and hit that button, and it goes boom.
Yeah, that's always, that was it. I often thought when the time comes when I'm really going for the big record, what would I do? I dreamed about that for many, many years, but it just kind of fell in place. I was going over 430 miles an hour, and I know I could have saw a fly on that 5-board. I was so intent looking at it.
My record at Bonneville is extremely important to me personally. And you say, I'm going to do this no matter what it takes. If it takes 5 years or 10 years, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it my way.
It's the idea that you get out here and you go as fast as you can go with your particular way that you think can be done. And if you're successful, then you should be celebrated. And if you're not successful, well, then you go home and you figure out what the heck you did wrong or what you can do differently, and then you bring it out here the next time you can do it, and you try it all over again.
It's a 1999 Ford F-250 cab and a half. Took us several years to make it. It's always had a V12 Detroit diesel in it and a 10-speed Road Ranger transmission with 10th direct. Trying to get to 230 for years. I think it's going to work.
You see everything from the home-built, whatever kind of car it is, to the multi-million-dollar streamliners and specialty-type built cars that they build for just going to Bonneville.
I built this car. I don't know that there's very many Pontiacs that are doing over 200 miles an hour on what's basically gravel.
You're driving toward that mountain and you drive as far and as fast as you can. When the car's done, you're done. Come back, celebrate with your friends, and get ready to do it again.
It happened so fast. That's hard for me to explain because you swear you were going in slow motion, yet you're covering a lot of ground while that phenomena is happening. It doesn't last a whole lot of time, but it's exhilarating.
I'm trying to set a land speed record on a bicycle.
I want to do that again.
There's no money to be made up here. It's just something you do purely for the love of it.
It's bigger than all of us, just based on the history of what has taken place and how long we've been doing this with these crazy little things with 4 wheels.
When Malcolm Campbell went 300 miles out here, there was 17 miles of usable salt. Now today, they're lucky if they can get 7 to run the long course.
The area has declined on average from times when it was closer to 200 square kilometers to now maybe 75 square kilometers. We can link that to changes in the infrastructure as canals and berms are built, but we can also see that it changes in response to the amount of rain, the amount of evaporation, and the wind. The thickest place where that cap of salt is only 2 meters thick. So it's not tens and tens of meters or, this deep, thick pile of salt.
Saving the salt, it's a multi-sided endeavor. You're going to need the government, you need the racers, we need the scientists to say, this is worth saving.
If there wasn't racing, if there wasn't the whole Bonneville Speedway community and legacy and culture, no one would be talking about saving the salt. No one would be thinking about the impacts of resource extraction and climate change on this little layer of salt.
It's a piece of history, and it's also a national treasure. How could you turn your back on that? How could you say, I don't want to help, I don't want to save it? We all got to pull on the rope together.
There's the racers, there's the mining, there's climate change, there's hydrology change, there's groundwater, there's the use of the resources. It's linked to fertilizer and feeding people, but then there's the technology from the racers that's advancing so many things around livelihoods and embracing this culture of technology and STEM interests in populations that might not hear about it or get excited about it otherwise. It's really just a pretty special place that brings up so many things together.
You come through the drive into the salt flats and you hear angels sing. It's breathtaking. How can you not love this place?